And I was trying to make it. Oh,
Oops. Welcome back. This is the final NFC West episode of offseason review. Today we're reviewing the Seahawks, who had a very busy offseason after the last owner did nothing.
yeah. So looking at their trades, this team made a handful of different moves this offseason and definitely put this team in a position to win. So starting off, they gave up Rashard Penny and two fifth rounders in exchange for pick 226 and the Browns next year fourth rounder, which honestly is probably a good move. That second rounder is definitely a higher value pick. And Rashard Penny has had injury history. The upside's still definitely there and could be used as like a flex piece that most teams need. But I think I like him getting a second rounder there more.
Mm-hmm. The second trade, this kind of confused me a ton. They gave up Russell Wilson, DJ Moore, and Marvin Jones in return for Dak Prescott, a 2023 first, and 3.12.
Yeah. So looking at this, they gave up a good handful. Wait, do we know if this is Seahawks DJ Moore or Panthers DJ Moore?
Oh, that probably explains it. Let's see. I'm pretty sure
That makes a big difference.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. They gave up. Oh, wait, I think it was. Wait. Oh, never mind. It was David Moore of the Seahawks. That changes everything.
Oh, David Moore. Okay. Okay. Yeah,
that changes
that definitely changes it. Yeah. Okay. So essentially, they swapped out Wilson for Dak. Seeing what Dak did to start off the season was just incredible. Most people give Dak a lot of hate, especially because he's on the Cowboys. But considering if Dak can stay healthy after that gruesome injury last year, Dak definitely I feel like has more upside than Wilson, especially since Wilson's had the natural ability to just cool off towards the end of the season and has let down a lot of fantasy owners.
Wilson's
They gave up
32 and Dak is only 26. And he
yeah,
got a
so big
27.
age gap.
And he had a first round pick. So that's a great trade for him. Now that's not DJ Moore. So I
Yeah,
love
and
that trade.
Marvin Jones was good. I think he's in Jacksonville now.
Yes.
So his upside is a little limited and he's definitely up there on age. David Moore is really not going to be anything too big. I believe he's in Carolina, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I think you're right.
Okay, so he's going to be number 3, possibly 4, depending on how Terrence Marshall develops. So I feel like this is definitely a big win for the Seahawks trade overall.
Yeah. They gave up 4.09 for Sam Ficken. I think he's a starter on the Jets, so that's a pretty solid trade.
It's a kicker, so I mean you have to be able to trade a little more than just a fifth rounder to go and get a starting kicker. So I'd say that's a pretty good trade for
him. Big trade, this CMC trade. They gave up Shaq Griffin, Terrell Burgess, and those 3 firsts for CMC 4.01 and 2.27. We kind of talked about this, but I feel like they won this trade for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. CMC is just an amazing weapon, and depending if he stays healthy or not will depend on how far his team goes.
And then the 5th trade, I really like this one. They received CJ Mosley for B. Coert. I don't know who he is. 5.09 and 4.01.
Yeah, so CJ Mosley is definitely a solid piece. Getting up there in age, but to add a little bit of veteran defensive presence on the team to get you those points now for a playoff run, definitely a good idea.
And like people forgotten how good he is. Like he opted out this year. He got hurt in 2019, but like every other year he scored 200 plus points most years. Like he is, if he gets back to his healthy form, he's one of the best IDP options in here.
Mm-hmm.
The 6th trade, this is kind of surprising. They gave up AJ Penza of the Bills 2.26, 2.09, 3.09, a 2022 second, 2.28, 2.11, 3.12, and 2.27 for the 12th overall pick, who they ended up drafting with Trey Sermon.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at this, they give up a lot of picks, but if you look at where their team is at, I feel like they needed more quality over quantity. Now, the team that got all those picks that's very good for a rebuild, but I feel like it makes sense for both teams that were involved in the trade. He definitely needed another running back, and Trey Sermon definitely has the ability to go and be big. Mostert's had injury history in the past, so if Mostert goes down, Sermon's going to be the guy over there. I mean, it is a lot that he gave up, but I feel like those picks probably wouldn't have made as big of a impact altogether than it would for Sermon.
I feel like he could have he definitely overpaid because he gave up 6 seconds and
6 seconds.
2/3, which is probably equal to like 2 to 3 or 2 firsts, you think?
Depends where the first are at. Yeah.
I don't know, but he gave up like all that for Trey Sermon, who's not even like a guaranteed deal. And even looking at his team, he has not a bunch of holes, but he has holes. He's starting Will Disley. He's starting Jacob Hollister. He's starting some defensive linemen
Yeah.
who,
I mean, do you think those second rounders could have been used to just completely redo his defense? But
yeah,
some people just don't value IDP as much as other people do. And I think this guy definitely goes and values offense a lot more.
yeah,
And so it shows in that trade.
yeah. I feel like sure you got your guy in your RB2, but you gave up so more much. And I think like if you would have traded some of those seconds for first, you could have probably traded those first then for a much better running back than Trey Sermon. Because like Sermon
Mhm.
isn't even a guaranteed player. He could easily be another bust.
Yeah, he could have easily gone and traded away those picks for 2 first rounders. And I think 2 first rounders probably could have gotten you a good handful of running backs in this
Yeah.
league.
And then the last trade they made, they received Jamison Crowder, Marcus May, Chris Herndon, and Quinton Williams for Shaq Griffin, Jeffrey Okuda, Devin Asiasi, James Prochet, Justin Rodweiser, Rashad Berry, some guy whose name I cannot pronounce. The Browns fourth, their fifth. The Seahawks 23 second and the Seahawks 23 third. And this was with the Jets, who are
Jets.
rebuilding.
Yeah, so this is definitely a win now move. Crowder's getting old, but he's still a viable option. The rest of the players that he got, besides Chris Herndon, are able to go and produce now to help the team. He gave up a lot of just lower level guys, I personally feel like, and some
And
picks that
like
aren't really anything except for that second.
the Jets, they made it themselves. Like the players, that's a lot of dart throws. I think the main players were just that second in 2023 Nakuda.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like that's a pretty solid overall win now trade, especially since Herndon's going to fill that tight end spot.
Yeah.
So what do you, this team last year, they third place in the division, they missed the playoffs. What do you think they're going to do this year?
All right. So I believe this team can go 2 ways. I'll go with the as of right now, looking at the team approach, and then I'll get to what I was going to say after. But I like the team. I'll go and say 10-3 as well. I think they're definitely win now, but I don't absolutely love their defense to see them going and winning almost every single game this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like especially since their team it doesn't have an elite defense and they're starting Disley and Hollister and they got a tough schedule. Like their division's one of the best in the league. It's going to be a really tough
Yeah, for
schedule
sure.
and push to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things, this is what I was going to note, is that Dak Prescott has injury history as we saw last year. And looking, he does not have any backup quarterbacks to Dak. So if that goes down, the season is potentially over for this team because they absolutely need Dak Prescott to be playing lights out at the beginning of last year for this team to go and win it all.
Yeah, like they don't have much depth overall. So I think there's a lot of upside to this team, but it's also super risky. Like especially with the hard schedule.
Yeah, for sure. So this team has the upside, but we'll see when it comes playoff time to see how far this team's really going to go.
So with this being our last NFC West review, who do you think is going to NFC West? Or like what order do you think the teams are going to finish in?
Which team? All right, I'm going to go and say the Cardinals take one, but slightly edge out the Seahawks for that top spot. So I'll go Cardinals 1, Seahawks 2, Niners 3, and then the rebuilding Rams are going to be 4.
Yeah, I'm going to say Cardinals take one by a few game margin. And I think 2 is going to be the 49ers. They're going to start off hot and drop a few games at the end of the stretch. And the Seahawks going to be like one game behind, and then the Rams at the bottom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you enjoy the NFC West. What division's next? The NFC North. Yeah, soon.
NFC North. All right, we'll see you guys in a week or two.
See ya.